Hey, welcome everybody. Just before Beyond the Booth with Phil Harris, we're recording a special interview with a longtime friend. It's funny in talking to him. We've been so many places at the same time, but we've never had a chance to sit down and talk. But I want to welcome in new head softball coach at Gadsden State, Ryan Clark. How you doing, Coach Clark?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm excited. I'm excited for you and your opportunity there. Um, Coach Clark, of course, we know each other through Sylvania football. You were a longtime D coordinator there, with much success too. So it's been a journey for you.
Yes, sir.
So the first question, I got some kind of questions I want to stay on script with you a little bit. Leaving high school where you just had your players, if that kid lived in the Sylvania community, he or she was on your football team or softball team. What's it like recruiting a team now that you've been introduced to it?
To me, it's what adds the challenge to it. You kind of know what you need, and you get to go out and find what you need and offer these players. Like you're saying, in high school, you get what's in your school zone. I was blessed for the years I was coaching in high school that I had really good athletes that were in our school zone and went to our school, and you know. But at this level, you just got to go find what you need, and you can kind of fit the puzzle together as you go.
So that I kind of opened that a little early because I wanted to get into you've been known as a high school coach, been a successful high school coach. Is that the main transition, or is there more that we don't know as a general public about going in that collegiate level?
The recruiting is the biggest change, I would say. The transition went so fast for me because I was hired late in July, that I never really sat back and thought about it. I think my official start date was August 1st of 23, and I had a recruit in the school that day. Giving a tour and making an offer, and I had to start quickly because we were a little bit behind, but we caught up pretty quickly, and so that to me that was the biggest challenge. Was starting out was just the difference in recruiting versus not recruiting.
Is that what started your journey to Gadsden State? Was it just an open job and you wanted it, or was there things we didn't realize behind the scene that you're a highly successful high school coach and then you move on? So what started that journey?
Well, the journey kind of, I guess you could say, started back in 2012. Uh, um, I was able to go to Snead State and took a manager spot there. It turned into more of like a student assistant spot with Coach Lisa Bright. And then after she left after the first year, and Coach Tracy Grinrod, who's still there coaching now, very successful, done some really great things with that program. I stayed on staff with him. Then I was blessed enough to go over to Jacksonville State and work with one of the best college softball players or coaches that's ever done it, Coach Shannon McGinnis. And I really got to see between those two coaches, you know, what success looks like at that level. They're both really good at what they do. Coach McGinnis is great. Anybody that knows her will be able to tell you that she runs a great program. So after those 4 years in college, I knew that coaching softball one day was what I wanted to do. So that's kind of where it all started. Um, like I was saying, that team that was at Jacksonville, man, it was impressive. I was just glad I got to be there and watch them compete every day. There were some great athletes on that team. So that really got my interest in softball. And when I left there, I had plans to go try to find a softball job or an assistant softball job at the high school level. And then, well, backtrack a little bit. Right before I left Jacksonville, Coach Nick Ledbetter got the defensive coordinator spot at Sylvania. So that's kind of how I got in there. As I started helping them, just volunteering, helping break down film. I would help with the D line and stuff like that. And then went from that too, I ended up getting a job there and became the head baseball coach. Did that for 5 years, and then went over back to softball finally for the last two before taking this job. So
Coach, and this is my fault, and just a little side comment. I thought so much of you as a D coordinator. I just assumed you were always a football guy because you had tons of success. Was it emotional for you to leave Sylvania where you had tons of success on the softball and the football side? To
it was, you know, the day I found out, I brought the softball team in and talked to them, and it was a little bit emotional. There's great kids in that program, great parents to those kids that were there, um, and we were really excited about the future going forward. But it was an emotional day, not only for them, but it was hard on me as well. And then after I left there, we were actually in the middle of football camp, so called a kind of an emergency meeting with the softball group, and then went straight over to the football team and told them, I was going to still be around Friday nights. They would still see me around some, still be up there on Sundays and stuff like that. So the football, I guess it was kind of, I was in and out through the season, but it kind of didn't end until,
Yep.
um, we got beat by Madison Academy. And then after that game, it was hard. That senior group, I've been with them for a long time, all the way up from the seventh grade all the way through. And then the junior group, there's a lot of really great kids and athletes in that group as well. So yeah, it was an emotional time.
Any difference between working with female athletes and male athletes at that level and at the level you're at now? We talked about a counterpart of yours, a former the basketball coach at Sylvania, Coach Finch, and he talked about the toughness of the girls and the willingness to compete. You've seen it at the highest level. What's the biggest difference?
To me, there's not a lot of a difference. Athletes are going to play. If you got the right athletes in place, they're going to play whether male, female. It doesn't matter what you're coaching. The biggest difference to me is the girls side of it. When they trust you and know that you have their back, they'll run through a wall for you.
Absolutely.
Um, boys kind of got to be proven a little bit, but girls, once they trust you, they're going to run through a wall for you.
Coach, I'm known as a football guy, but if you ask me my favorite collegiate sports after football, it is girls softball and women's basketball. And I do think there is a loyalty respect that even as a fan, you just lend that way. Uh, let's get back to recruiting just for a minute. What is Gadsden State's recruiting base look like in 2024?
Well, their class of 24, we're all the way down in the Montgomery area, all the way over to the Mississippi line, over in the Atlanta area, and everywhere in between right now. We're as far north as Jackson County, Alabama. So in the future, we probably would like to expand over more into Atlanta, up into Tennessee, and we're looking to do that. So, but right now, we cover all four corners of the state.
That's a lot of recruiting for you and a lot of travel.
Absolutely.
Um, you talked a little bit about expanding your recruiting base. And I know a little bit about Gadsden State, and I know a little bit about the other teams down there. What's the approach in selling Gadsden State as a journey in your softball career?
Well, Gadsden State's not had softball since 2016, and they hadn't had baseball since 2011. The baseball team started up now, and I believe after today, I believe they'll be 4-3 already on the season as a new program. But to me, the selling point for Gadsden is, we've got a really great president and athletic director who are really pushing the athletics back to the front of the scene. Um, you know, it's new. We're in the process of building a multi-million-dollar facility for baseball and softball. And you know that you have to have the mayor, the president, and the athletic director, and everybody going in the same direction for things to be happening this way. So, a big selling point for Gadsden right now is all the support that we have, even from the city of Gadsden. The mayor stepped up in some big ways and helped us do a lot of things there. So, just the fact of all the support and the excitement surrounding the programs is it's a good thing right now.
Yeah, Gadsden's a wonderful community. I had some time I spent down there. It's a wonderful place, and does need more Gadsden State or Gadsden based uh, programs, entertainment, whatever you'll call it. I did notice one of the early things you did, and I follow you on Facebook. We're Facebook friends. I started as soon as you got the job. I started noticing camps pop up. How are these camps important to promote your program and the university too?
Oh gosh, they're huge. Like I was talking about just a second ago with the excitement. The very first camp we had, it was raining. Me and my assistant coach, Coach Russo, we were throwing out quick dry on the field at 9:40, and the camp starts at 10 o'clock, and we had people lined up all the way through the parking lot to come into camp. So the excitement to let people know we're here, let people know that we're serious about this, and that good things are going to happen at Gadsden. Um, and we like to do that through camps. Get it helps us with recruiting. So we get good athletes there. We actually ended up offering a couple that were at that camp. Seeing those athletes and being able to um, work one on one with them in a camp is huge.
Coach, that's the wave of recruiting. I deal a lot with high school football recruiting, and if you're not attending camps and not going to camps, you're behind everybody else, and it's
Mhm.
that true about any sport. So, what conference are you going to play in, Coach? And what does that schedule look like?
We'll be in the ACCC, the Alabama Community College Conference. So as of recently, the conference is kind of split. It used to be a North Division and a South Division. Last time when I was around with Snead, it was a North Division, South Division, but now it's Division One, Division Two, and it's kind of by school choice. So your Division One schools are mainly your northern schools. Plus, you'll have Coastal South, Shelton, Southern Union, and then everybody up Northwest Shoals, Northeast, Snead, Calhoun, Wallace, Hanceville. So you'll have it's really split. Other than Coastal South, it's kind of still split north and south. The Southern teams went more Division Two. So
Coach, will your schedule revolve mainly in the early days or around your conference, or will you look outside your conference to set up some games too?
it will. The commissioner will give us our conference schedule, and then we're allowed to play 60 games. So, I think we'll have somewhere in the neighborhood. We were counting the other day. I think 32 conference games. So the rest of those games, the other 28, will be non-conference.
What what can Gadsden State and include the baseball program? What can this athletic program bring to the school as far as publicity and enrollment? It's very important the success you have on the field directly. I know, I know this is the opposite end, but when Alabama's football team blew up, enrollment blew up. It really does affect how people look at the school.
Oh, for sure. I mean, when you have successful sports programs, and that's, and your PR teams are doing a good job of putting all that stuff on there, which ours is making sure that, stuff is promoted. When stuff like that is happening, your enrollment's going to go up, and not to mention the enrollment of just your athletes that have not been there. Just between baseball and softball, next year we'll probably add 60 to 70 kids, in the enrollment of the school. And then their friends want to come so they can come watch them play games and be a part of seeing the program start back up and seeing the programs try to be successful.
You know, I myself, I went to junior college after, like so many young people not knowing what they want to do, trying one path, and then ending up at Chattanooga State, which was a great journey for myself and really got me on track to what I was going to do. Uh, let's talk in generalities about your team now and putting it together. We already talked about that recruiting base. Now it's time for you to put it together. What do you think that team will look like on the field?
Uh, we've got a really good group of kids coming in. Really good people, um, good parents that are coming along with those athletes, and we've got a very athletic group. We were blessed, like I said, that starting late, but it wasn't too late. It was right on time. I was still able to pick up some really good athletes, some really good softball players, and put together a team. I think, like I told you, I had somebody in on day one or day two of when I started my job, and then by November 1st, we had signed 20 girls, and we signed two more later. So that's a quick turnaround. The local crowd's been good to us, and we're excited about that because local kids means local crowds, you know. And junior college, you will see some big crowds at some baseball, softball, basketball, volleyball, all these games. You'll see big crowds, because a lot of times you'll have the local kids, and our local crowd was really good to us.
Coach, let me find my place real here. Oh, okay, I got it. Um, in building, as you build a team, what what do you take from all the other coaches that's influenced you? Is it the same building a softball team as a football team? Uh, or is it a total separate vibe?
The base of everything is going to be the same. Like I was talking about earlier, you got your athletes. If you want to have a successful program, you got to build a successful program. So you've got to start with your bases. Make sure all the kids have a great attitude and give great effort, and a lot of great things come out after that. So building from the ground up. Programs. You've seen some programs explode right out of the beginning, and it's because they have great bases. So that's what we're trying to do at Gadsden is we're going to lay that foundation with this first group, and I believe the sky's the limit. So starting out, I guess it's the same as far as you just got to get your culture right. You got to establish your culture that you want, and have a great foundation set by that very first team.
Coach, I would be remiss. First of all, thanks your publicity team, your AD team. They were great to work with for us and getting this book pulled together. But I would be remiss if I didn't ask you a little about Gadsden State, the community college. It's a wonderful place. A young person not playing a sport can find a lot at Gadsden State.
Oh yeah, there are tons. Our technical division is one of the nicest in the state. I mean, it's huge. We're building a multi-million-dollar facility on the other side of campus for that. And there are so many programs at Gadsden State that if you're not really looking into the school, you probably don't notice. Um, I've had several athletes reach out and say, "Hey, listen, that you are one of the only junior colleges local that have this, this, and this,
Yeah.
and that's what I want to major in." So um, Gadsden State does a really great job of being versatile in the classroom and having different majors and degrees that you can obtain there.
It would be remiss if you're a person looking for a college choice in that area, you didn't take the time to go over there and look at Gadsden State. My daughter's just started high school, and I can tell you that she's already locked into why not do a community college and then go to a 4 year university,
For
and it
sure.
become a path of success. So many kids that go straight to 4 year universities fail, and I was one of those. So,
Mhm.
Coach, let's talk about you a little bit as a coach. Phil Harris, that does the show with me. You're going to be on Beyond the Booth. Phil from WQSB, of course, he has the same question, and he couldn't be live with us today, but he wanted me to ask you What does it mean to you, Coach Clark, when you see a kid get it? You see something you've been working on, teaching, talking about, and all of a sudden you put that player on the field and they've got it. That sparkles in their eye. What does that mean as a coach?
It means everything, and it's kind of why you do what you do. You know, when it finally clicks in that athlete, you've been trying to work certain things, and it finally clicks for that athlete. Then you realize, hey, they're getting what I'm saying, or they're finally putting together what we've been working on. And that kind of that motivates you when you see it the very first time. It just it kind of doesn't go away. You want to see it over and over and over again, because that means that your players are still hungry to get better, and they're still working to improve every day. So, when it finally clicks in that athlete and you just see it, then that's the moment that you realize that, hey, the sky's the limit for this kid.
Mm.
And you feel pride for that kid. At the same time of, I'm so glad she gets it. You know, um, so that's definitely a great feeling as a coach.
Coach, a little about you. We talked about coach, and it's my apology. I knew you were the head softball coach. I also knew you were the DC, but I'm so wrapped up in football in my world. I was just like, Coach Clark left to go to what, and then I had to back reel a little bit and go, oh yeah, Coach Clark's been invested in girls softball for years. Coach, tell us a little bit about what influenced you. I know you worked at some wonderful places, but what influenced you first? Were you in high school when you said, I'd like to be a coach, or when did that come along?
This goes all the way back. I don't know. My dad and a couple others coached us in 8U, and we went. I want to get this wrong. We went 16-0 and ended up playing for the in the state tournament in 8U. It was back then, it wasn't coach pitch; it was still a pitching machine. And I think at that moment I was hooked on sports. And then probably by the time I got to high school, I played for some of the greatest coaches that have ever been around this area. And Dale Pruitt was the head football coach, and Jeff Brooks, who's now the head softball coach at Plainview, was my baseball coach, and Nick Ledbetter was the main assistant for both. And Luke Pruitt also was an assistant on that staff. So I played for some really great coaches, and seeing them do what they did every day, it kind of was. I already love sports, so in high school I kind of seeing them do what they do every day and love it the way they did, and really invest in us is probably what motivated me to actually want to start coaching.
I have a strange tie to the Pruitt family myself. I got into broadcasting through calling Plainview football games, but then I moved to Tennessee, and I'm still at Sequatchie County. So I started with Coach Pruitt, and then I got to call his 300th win at Marion County when he beat Sequatchie County. So I've kind of been on the journey with the Pruitt family too, and of course, Luke is often on our show too. So I definitely would influence you to do what you do. I can see that.
Yep.
So okay, Coach Pruitt, and being at Sylvan or Plainview is a very athletic high school program. You get out, you start your coaching career. Sounds like you had some real good mentors early on in your coaching career too.
Mm-hmm. So like I was saying earlier, in my transition from Jacksonville to Sylvania, Nick Ledbetter had gotten a job, the head baseball job over there, and the defense coordinator job. So I came in, and he called me one day and asked if I'd be interested in helping. So I did, and I helped there. And Coach Putnam allowed me to help coach with football at the time, and it just kind of, I was in the right place at the right time every time. Uh, you know, a lot of prayers and a lot of good things falling my way, and I was always at the right place at the right time. And that's kind of where the actual coaching side of things really took off. At 23 years old, I was a head baseball coach, and my head was spinning. I was lost. I had a really great group of athletes, from the ninth grade all the way to the 12th grade. Um, Kind of took those ninth graders all the way out. Ended up being county champions and making some runs in the playoffs. And that's kind of where it all started for coaching.
Did again, we've already talked about it being emotional, but you've had to make this change from one very successful job to another one several times. So again, going to Gadsden State is a logical next progression. Tell us what we can do. We're finished with the interview questions, but 1-to-1, and everybody listening, what can we do as the general public to help you get established at Gadsden State?
I would say just um, look into what we're doing. Like I was talking earlier, the facilities that we're building, the things the president's allowing us to do, and she's working her tail off every day for athletics. We've got a great athletic director. We need to just look into what all the college offers. It's a hidden gem in Gadsden. All the talent that's within an hour and a half of Gadsden is unreal in the softball world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for an hour and a half from Gadsden, you're close to Atlanta, you're close to Chattanooga, you're out in the Huntsville area, and you're Birmingham and South. That's an incredible area for the softball world. Look into what we're doing, uh, and just support us along the way, and um, yeah, just support and seeing what we're all about.
Well, Coach, anytime you want someone to come on and represent Gadsden State, we're happy to do it. We enjoy having you. We enjoy, my great pleasure is watching young coaches grow up before my eyes, and I feel like I've been a little part of your journey to get where you're at, and I certainly want to see the end result. So you have an open door. Gadsden State has an open door. Tell them anytime they want anything from us. We're happy to run any news article, anything that we can get out there to publicize. And this is a personal note. This is not Coach Clark. If you're in the Chattanooga area, Gadsden is closer than you think.
Sure is. It's really close. As far as talking about colleges and what colleges are closest, it's close.
Yeah, I think we could probably draw a map around an hour from Gadsden and catch about a third of the population of the South. Much I'm not talking about the old South. So,
Right.
Coach, you come back and see us sometime when we get after the season.
Absolutely.
Anyway, it's been great to have you. It's Coach Ryan Clark, Gadsden State. Get out and pay attention to local, not just Gadsden State, but local sports, and that's how this grows. And hopefully, we'll have a full crowd. What's your new facility set, Coach?
We should be breaking ground within the next couple of weeks, I believe. It's so we're looking at a year out, so right in time for our games.
All right, come back and join us. We'll be going. Stay with us. We'll take a commercial break, and then we'll come back with Phil Harris and myself beyond the booth. Thanks, Coach Clark. Appreciate Gadsden State for the time. Coach Clark, good luck to you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you anytime, Coach.